I'd say my aspiration is that Uplift does grow into that strong network of villages that can help older Floridians live independently in the places that they call home. And that would be providing resources, connections, expertise that not just for when they're at the stage where they need a lot of services, but how do you help stimulate them socially, intellectually, physically, and emotionally? And my aspiration is that this network extends into under-resourced and underserved communities, and that includes rural areas which really struggle with services.
I think Uplift has a potential couple areas. One, so the interviews that I've had with the different villages, they're each, I don't want to say they're not siloed, but they're each in their own community, kind of doing their own thing in their own ways. And they're just doing their best to survive and thrive. Uplift has this ability to kind of convene them and get them together regularly. So they're not just talking about their challenges, but also celebrating their successes and their wins, and kind of creating this culture of sharing, learning, so that they can strengthen one another, and that, you know, they have this community themselves. I mean, they're creating communities, but they need their own community that they can tap into when they have questions or when they're not understanding how to overcome something, whether it be volunteers or funding. So Uplift has that possibility to convene the villages so that they can strengthen each other and learn from each other. And then potential when it comes to the aging system, once again, that we have so many older adults. By creating more villages, we're able to bridge the gaps that exist in the services that are being delivered to older adults. So the impact or the potential is really getting villages created faster. So I know I've learned that it takes 1 to 3 years to get a village created, and just thinking of how fast things happen in our life. Within that time frame, someone could be waiting for a village and they can go from being fully independent to now they're in a nursing home, unfortunately, or independent living. So I think being the potential to create villages faster that are still impactful and successful, so that they can serve a greater number of people who may not know a village exists yet, but will certainly benefit from one.
I think it is going to expand the ability for aging in place. I think it can highlight and shine a light on aging in place as a very, very positive thing.
Uplift has a great opportunity to be very impactful, to help everyone age in place across the state. So obviously our goal is to spread and encourage more villages, to be formed in a state, towards that goal.
I hope that we can get people involved in the village system, involved enough to start villages and continue them and make them successful.
There's so much that has to be considered in starting a village, but they can give you the steps that put your village in a business mode so that you can then move forward. And of course, advocacy is going to be huge for the state of Florida. We need Uplift to be advocating for villages within the state. I think that will be, it will be as important as giving new villages the exact tools that they need to tell them step by step what they need to accomplish before they can do this successfully.
Being a possibilitarian, I think there's no end to what Uplift can be. I think thinking about Uplift as this umbrella for communities who want to have villages, or whatever they're called in the iterations, using best practices, learning from each other, allowing people to age with dignity and independence. So my aspiration, and it's not my aspiration that matters, it's what Uplift wants. I think Uplift can be vibrant in what is created locally, but I also think Uplift can be impactful as it works across the state.
Ideally, love to see it be well funded through grants and then other sources of revenue, so that somewhere down the line it becomes a self-sustaining organization and maybe finds revenue sources that can build it, that it builds a strong core staff, cover whatever functions are needed as it grows. I would think things like the bookkeeping and human resources and some of those other functions will become revenue centers somewhere down the line, and have people on board within Uplift who are supporting those functions. Um, Having someone that's on board with doing the development stuff, somebody's on board doing the village formation work, and that becomes the source for information around the state on what the needs of seniors are.
Places are that you guys continue to move forward, and definitely needed work. And as I think Roger said, someone needs to do it. And since you all knowingly or unknowingly sign your hand to do it, I hope that you continue the momentum forward to get it accomplished. So I'm looking forward to seeing what a network of villages looks like and the impact that it can have, starting, maybe locally, regionally, and then branching out.
Just keep pushing keep pushing. Like there's always going to be problems to solve, and there's always going to be hurdles to overcome. But just keep going, and I always joke with Deborah, like you're going to turn around one day and it'll be like, God, we've been doing this for 5 years, for 10 years. You're like, how did this happen? How are we down the road with this? So it'll happen. You just kind of keep grinding it, and and you never know when opportunities come along, to help what you're trying to do, or somebody brings something to you, to collaborate.
I'm just excited that the villages are, still working it out. It's a terrific concept, and we certainly have the need in this community. So I can't wait to see how everything pans out, and hopefully continue to be a part of it somehow.
Yes, I see like the bigger picture. Much like the age-friendly initiative or the age-friendly public health initiative or any of those things, they sort of start out and then they roll out across the state. So I would really like, I guess my hope is that we can get enough individual villages so that this can sort of be a movement like age-friendly was and things like that. So I really do hope that we're able to get it to that point. I'd really, really love for us to get a village in Sarasota, because I think that would go a long way in sort of, showing that it can be done, that it can work, that it's economical, that it's creating value to the community. So I'm excited for the time when we can actually say we have a village in Sarasota.
I would say game changer, because I think if we can get Uplift launched and have it reach its potential to really create villages across the state, I think it could be a game changer for the older adults in the state of Florida.
What can I say? Energizing the state to form more villages. For those of us who are doing the work, we're very excited. And when people tell us that, that's good. They can say you're very passionate about what you're doing, and you're very excited about what you're doing. So we need to translate. So the more we can do that through Uplift, I think that's really that would be some adjectives to use for where I want Uplift to be and to grow into.
Right.
I hope it'll be powerful. I truly do. I just think they can do so much for all of us and bring us together, have conventions, and we'll be there. We'll bring our bags and you'll have lots of vendors who will dispense information on new things that are available to villages, and that could be such an exciting thing for Uplift to be involved in, or to be the initiator of. They'll need that. But the village to village gathering each year is very valuable, but to have our own state one would be even more so.
Meaningful, I guess, meaningful to the that we have some utility to the villages that we're hoping to bring into our hub. So applicable, useful. There's another word I'm stretching for. Indispensable. would be nice, that became indispensable to the villages and a real asset for them.
My one word for what I hope Uplift's future is thrive, which fits in perfectly with the vision. I hope that in Uplift's future, Uplift is able to thrive, flourish, and prosper, not only in the fact in creating its network of villages and helping villages to start up faster and create a whole network throughout the state of Florida, but also prosper and funding for sure to be able to do all the great things that you want to do. And I know I've heard that funding is definitely necessary, but also just continue to thrive, that everyone, like right now, everyone in the organization, although there may be a lot of challenges or things that need to be done, everyone is thriving in the sense like you all want to be here and you're happy the fact that you are here. So looking forward, I hope that the organization thrives, but the people within it continues to thrive and see the value and the work that they're doing.
Hopeful. I am very hopeful that Uplift will be able to help establish a number of villages around Florida, the state of Florida, and make them into a cohesive network, just as the name says, Uplift Florida Network, Inc. I really am very hopeful that that is going to happen.
Ever evolving. I'm sorry, I got to put a little hyphen in there because it's a process and that the opportunities are going to come from so many different directions. There's going to be seedlings that birth at different times, locally and beyond. So Uplift being vigilant, aware, keeping up their antenna about what is percolating and who can be good partners. It's ever evolving. So, I mean, I think that dynamic would be another good word if we wanted to use a single word. I think their future is dynamic.
I do. I think they have I think it's got a bright future.
I see it as positive. I mean, positive and a bright future. You know, there's two words there, actually three. And then, you know, and in a space where it's much needed. I mean, you know, those are a lot of words there, but I mean, there's, you know, I do see, as I said before, I do see this happening. I just think it's a question of who does it. You know, I mean, who can get this off the ground.